So you're looking for a payroll provider, you've heard about SurePayroll and Paychex, and you've got some questions. Well, in this video, I'll be answering the questions of how these platforms stack up for payroll, which one's going to come out ahead from both a price and quality standpoint, and what you absolutely must know before deciding whether to use either of these platforms. And if at any point during the video you want to sign up for either one, I'll leave links in the description below to the best available offers. Currently, SurePayroll is giving up to 6 months of free payroll, so make sure to check that out. So diving right into things, what is SurePayroll? As the name would suggest, they are a payroll and employee benefits company that was established in 2000. In 2011, they became a subsidiary of Paychex, and together they have over 670,000 businesses using their service. And so although they're a subsidiary of Paychex, they are not Paychex, and both of these platforms do serve quite different audiences. Now, with SurePayroll in particular, they're going to focus on payroll for a few specific use cases. These are going to be small businesses of anywhere from 1 to 100 employees, nannies or household employees, which we'll talk more about later, officer-only S corporations, restaurants, nonprofits, and churches. If you're not in one of those camps and you're deciding between the two, Paychex is probably going to be your best bet. Now, in addition to providing payroll services for these different kinds of businesses, they also do support a number of employee benefits, including things like 401k, workers' compensation, health insurance, and pre-employment screening. To date, they've run over 22 million payrolls, they support over 6,000 taxes, and are very well established in the industry. They're going to support 1099 workers as well as W-2 employees, and they've got integrations with all of the major accounting platforms, including things like QuickBooks, Xero, and Less Accounting. So now that you understand what SurePayroll is, let's talk about where they really shine. One of the big things to note here is that they are an extremely affordable option for running your payroll. They offer two different services, which are going to be their full service and their no tax filing, which are going to vary based on their features and cost. So let's dive into those briefly so that you can understand what you're actually looking at here. Well, with both, you're going to be looking at no setup fees or contracts. They're going to support deductions for Social Security, Medicare, unemployment, and state and local taxes. You're going to have unlimited payroll runs, which are going to be fast and offer no extra fees, direct deposit and online pay stubs, flexible payroll options like auto payroll, and US-based award-winning customer service, even on nights and weekends. Now, with the no tax filing plan in particular, this one's going to come in extremely affordably at $19.99 per month, plus a $4 per month per employee fee. So for a one-person business, you'd be looking at about $24, two-person business, $28, and so on and so forth. Now, this option is really only going to be for you if you want to manage the tax filing yourself, which for me is one of the big reasons why I'm using payroll in the first place, is so that I don't have to bother with any of this. And in my personal opinion, you'll probably need an accountant on staff to effectively use this option. However, you will be saving a little bit of money when compared to the full service option, which we'll talk about in just a second. Now, with this plan, you are going to get calculation for employee paychecks, any new hire reporting that's required by the state, they're going to take care of that for you, and you'll be covered by the SurePayroll tax calculation guarantee, which means if they miscalculate your taxes, they're going to cover any penalties associated with that for you. Now, with the full service plan, you're looking at something a little bit more expensive. It's going to come in at $29.99 per month with a $5 per month per employee fee. But on this plan, they are going to take care of all the tax filing for you, so that's a pretty big plus in my opinion, which I'd be willing to pay a little bit extra for. You're going to be getting a 2-day payroll processing window instead of a 4-day. You'll have access to more up-to-date resources like compliance posters and other things you may need to keep on display at your business. And you'll be covered by the SurePayroll no penalty tax filing guarantee. This means that SurePayroll is going to calculate your taxes, prepare and file your tax documents, make your tax payments, resolve any filing errors, and if there are any penalties associated with anything throughout that process, they're going to handle that for you. Now, one important thing to note here with SurePayroll is that you might actually end up paying more than these monthly fees depending on your intended use case. And that's because they've got a number of things that they will charge you extra for. Diving into those briefly, there's a $9.99 per month fee for local tax filing. You're looking at $9.99 if you need to file in multiple states, including Ohio and Pennsylvania, $4.99 for accounting software integration, $9.99 for time clock integration, and a $3 per employee and a $5 per month flat rate if you want to use their integrated time clock solution. Now, if you're not going to be affected by those, the price point still comes in way lower than what you'll find elsewhere. But once you start to add a few of those onto your monthly bill, it starts to not look quite as affordable. Now, there are also some really specialized use cases you can take care of here, including things like nanny payroll, which is not something you'll find with Paychex or with many other payroll providers out there. Now, what nanny payroll essentially is, and most people don't know this, is that if you're hiring a household employee and in the year 2024, you're paying them more than $2,700 throughout the course of the year, you are technically required to pay Medicare and Social Security taxes on their wages. Additionally, if you're paying them more than $1,000 per quarter, you're going to be required to pay federal unemployment tax and potentially state unemployment tax as well. So if you're like most people that hire household employees, you don't know this and you're not doing this, which actually means you are in violation of tax code. So in order to resolve this, SurePayroll provides a very simple and easy to use solution for this particular use case, which comes in at $49.99 for one household employee. And for any additional, it's going to be an extra $10 per employee. Now, some other notable benefits is that they allow you to pause your service at any point to reduce that fee that you're paying. So for example, if you only run payroll, say at the end of the year, you could have your service paused all year, just resume it at the end, pay a lot less, and still get your payroll done, and all your information will be saved within SurePayroll. And on top of that, they've got really great reviews. Right now, they're sitting at about a 4.1 on Trustpilot, with the only notable complaints being about their customer service, but they've also got a lot of positive reviews about their customer service, so I wouldn't take it to mean that they are lacking in that department. So now that you've got a pretty solid understanding of SurePayroll, let's talk about Paychex and then dive into which one is going to make the most sense for you. Well, similarly to SurePayroll, Paychex is primarily a payroll and employee benefits solution. However, in most cases, they are going to be best for larger employers. For example, back in the day, my first job was at Dairy Queen, and I used to receive my paychecks from Paychex. They offer a full service, high touch experience with things like onboarding, administration, support, and they're going to do a lot more hand holding than you're going to get with something like SurePayroll, which is a lot more self-service. However, for that, you're going to be looking at an enterprise pricing model, which means you're going to have to get a custom quote. Everything you want to add is going to add more to the price, and there's not going to be any, custom packages that you can choose from. That is, however, unless you decide to go with Paychex Flex Essentials. Now, this is basically a bare bones, less user-friendly option that's going to come in at a much lower price point, specifically for small businesses. When comparing Paychex to SurePayroll, it's a little bit more apples to apples to look at Paychex Flex Essentials versus SurePayroll. Now, with Paychex Flex Essentials, it's going to be a $39 per month fee with an additional $5 per employee per month. So coming in at a $10 per month increase from SurePayroll full service. Now, one big limitation here is that you're not going to be eligible for Paychex Flex Essentials if you've got more than 19 employees at your business. This is only intended for very small companies. So once you reach that threshold, then you're going to be into the Paychex quote-based ecosystem. Now, one thing to note with Paychex is that you're going to have to pay for each payroll that you run. So unlike SurePayroll, where you get unlimited payroll runs, it is going to be a cost per payroll with Paychex, and it's going to be an additional cost to file and send out any 1099s or W-2s. Now, when it comes to where Paychex shines, one of the key areas is in customer support. Obviously, you're going to pay more for it, but their customer support is going to be a lot more available and typically more helpful than what you're going to find with SurePayroll. They've got 24/7 customer support versus the, somewhat limited support that SurePayroll offers. Next, if you've got multiple kinds of workers, different types of income, or more complicated situations when it comes to reporting, Paychex is often going to be better for this because they are built a lot more custom made for your specific use case. Whereas with SurePayroll, what you get out of the box is what you get out of the box, and if you have a very difficult use case, it may not accommodate it very well. Paychex as well is going to have a lot more features automatically built in that you do have to pay extra for with SurePayroll, things like time clocks, accounting software integrations, those kinds of things that you do get charged extra for with SurePayroll. So all that to say, who comes out ahead here? Well, Paychex is going to be for larger companies, more complex situations with more money to pay for a payroll service provider. In general, it's going to be more robust and more comprehensive, but if you don't have an entire, HR team or at least an HR person to manage, could be a little bit overwhelming to get into. SurePayroll, on the other hand, is going to be great for small businesses with simple needs wanting a simple solution to just get the job done. You're not going to have any bells, whistles, frills with SurePayroll, but you are going to be able to get your payroll filed, get all the taxes paid, and get everything done in a way that is simple and maybe less overwhelming than what you might find with something like Paychex. It's also significantly more affordable than Paychex, and if you use that link in the description below, you can score up to 6 months of free payroll, which is a pretty nice way to start things off. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.